What's up, DWA fam? This is Asia, here to remind you that if you like this episode, go ahead and hit subscribe on Apple Podcasts or leave us a rating and a review. We really appreciate it. It goes such a long way, and we love to hear what you guys are saying. Hope y'all enjoy this week's episode. Hey, y'all, and if you're new here, welcome to the family. My name is Asia.
My name is Jared, and thank you for listening to
Done with Adulting Podcast. We are really glad you're here because we're talking all things we have to do as adults that no one warned us about during the many years we were in school.
Yes, we also discuss pop culture, current events, and give our perspective on hot topic issues in our society. And even though we're best friends, we don't always agree.
Basically, we're millennials. We get it. Adulting is hard. Welcome to your safe space.
We hope you enjoy.
Okay, we're back.
It's been a minute.
It has been a minute.
It's been a minute. A couple minutes.
It's been a couple minutes, you're right. Not just one singular minute, but you're back.
Yeah. Low key, we're back.
We're low key back. We took a little hiatus to,
Do this thing called life.
fatherhood,
Do this thing called adulthood.
life, all the things. But we're here. We're glad to have you back, Jared. I feel like I haven't seen you in the flesh in a while.
I know.
So
It's
this
been a
is nice.
while.
It's been a while. Very exciting because our debut back episode is featuring Emily and baby Jovi, who are calling in from Jovi's nursery as we speak. Hi, Emily.
Hi everyone.
Oh my gosh.
Thanks for having us.
So
You
exciting.
have to give some background on who Jovi is and who Emily is for some new listeners, maybe.
Okay, if you're a new listener and you haven't figured it out, Emily is Jared's wife. Jovi is our community podcast bundle of joy.
The first pod baby.
The first pod baby. And she's at this point, what, like 19 days old? 2 weeks?
2 weeks. She's about to be 3 weeks on Tuesday. So yeah, 19 days.
Well, this is the official Jovi / Jovi's parents' entire birth story, which I'm very excited about because I've heard bits and pieces, but I need like the play-by-play.
Yeah. It was funny because as soon as it happened, you were like, oh my God, tell me the story. And I'm like, nah, save it for the pod.
Save it for the pod.
And I think you got the birth chart ready too, so.
Oh, yeah, I do have the birth chart.
Ooh, I need to hear that.
I know. I'm going to pull it up. But how are you feeling, Emily? How's everything going? How is motherhood treating you?
Motherhood is amazing. It's definitely a little bit of an adjustment, so we're getting used to each other. And I feel pretty good. So we're taking little 2-hour naps and just keeping up with Jovi and her eating and everything. Yeah, we're good.
Oh my gosh, I am obsessed. So before we get into the actual whole, from the time it was time to go to the hospital, Jovi, tell us how you came up with her name. We love, it's original. I feel like it's just perfect, especially if you guys could see her face. I met her today for the first time. It's very fitting. So yeah, who came up with it? How did we get here?
That's all Emily right there. She was going a little crazy with names though, I'm not gonna lie. I'll allow her to tell her piece.
No, there are a lot of lists. So I think between searching Google, Pinterest, Twitter, Instagram, we just happened to come upon it and then saved it and couldn't kick it the whole pregnancy. Kept coming back to it. It just sounded good. Just really got stuck on it. And then when it came down to the last few, Jared, do you want to tell about kind of when we got down to our last two?
Yeah, so we went on a baby moon, and she told me that she was okay with the name Jovi, that we were good with that. But then as soon as the baby moon was over, she was like, wait, I want to keep looking. So she kept looking for names. We already had another name for backup that we liked. But she has a thing that if she realizes that there's a pet or a dog or an animal that has the same name, then she would not want our baby to be the name that. So
I get that.
we were at her parents' house, or we were at her dad's house, and we met her dog. Their neighbor's dog, and that dog had the name of our second choice. And as soon as I heard the name, I was like, "Oh yeah,
It's over.
We're done. We found our name."
It's so funny because you guys were like saying that, like Jared would be like, "We have like a name," but Emily's acting like she's not committed to it.
Yeah, she kept saying that she needed to see her to do it, and I'm like,
Yet
Yeah.
to see her.
Yeah, I feel like I did need to see her though.
And then did it
feels so real
confirm
when you
like
can,
when you saw
feel
her? Yeah.
"No, it didn't."
What? You don't think it confirmed like when you saw her, you were like, she looks like a Jovi to me.
I think it just like felt good still. I think it was like a feeling. It was like I can feel that she's real because I feel her in my stomach, and I know like I'm envisioning what she's about to be like, and then it's like going through delivery and labor, and then like having that skin to skin moment where it felt good. And so the nurse was like, "Okay, is she a Jovi?" And we were like, "Yeah." Like I feel like in that moment it still felt good. Maybe that's what I was waiting for.
I can't imagine the moment when people are like, "Oh, like they have a name," and then the baby comes out, and they're like, "Oh,
nah, that doesn't look like her.
This isn't a Blake.
Blake.
This isn't a Christy."
Okay, wow. I have so many questions. So, literally, Jovi was late, right? You went past your due date.
Yeah, it's 3 days.
3 days. Okay.
She was due August 7th. She came August 10th.
Okay, so literally August 7th came, went. Me and you recorded an episode the day before on the 9th or something like that.
Yeah, you
and
were
she
here.
still wasn't here.
Nope.
And then I was stalking you guys. I was just texting Jared every 6 hours being like,
Well, yeah, because I think, weren't you in, you were at the vineyard at that point, no?
no, I was back. I was back.
Because I just remember you texted me and was like, I feel like something's happening.
I said that like all the time. I was like, I feel like
you're on your way to the hospital. And you just didn't tell me, are you there yet? And I was like,
He's
no.
like, no. So Jovi was born on the 10th of August at night, right? Like 10 p.m.
10:26 p.m.
Okay, so walk us through the day.
So I woke up at like 5 a.m. and went to use the bathroom and noticed that my water broke and was a little bit
panicked,
unsure of myself. I was like, did I just pee or is that not pee? I legit texted my mom and was like, I think my water broke. I'm pretty sure it's not pee. And she was like, okay, can you hold it in? I was like, no.
Yeah, she was so scared that we would, so nervous about that.
Okay.
So I walked back. At that point I had told Jared. Jared got up and Jared was like packing his bag, getting things ready. I was like, I think, let me make sure it's not pee. Let me just hold on. Like, I'm not having contractions. Let me just wait a second. Let me call the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, we don't have time for this. Jared was like in like instant get to the hospital.
He was ready
mode.
to go.
Yeah, because I thought they said
ready.
when your water breaks, you're supposed to get to the hospital. And I didn't know it was just like some whole nonchalant thing. Like, I was the only one who was trying to make moves. And mind you, I'm packing up a bag that we already had
I was
our
gonna
bags
say,
packed.
didn't you already have the bag packed?
Yeah, we already had our hospital bags packed in the car already. For some reason, I woke up and packed another bag. I don't know why. I overpack everywhere I go. Emily can attest to that.
The people in the hospital asked him if he was moving in. They were like,
he had so much stuff.
You have so much. So at that point, when we called the doctor,
There's a lot going on.
the doctor said, come in a few hours. Like, just make sure you start to get ready and come in. So I took a shower. Jared was like, you do not have time for a shower. He was very nervous.
Yeah, I was confused because everybody was just being calm. I'm like, wait, the water broke. I thought when the water breaks, that's like,
in the
baby is
movies
imminent.
too, it's like your water breaks and then everybody just starts like running around like chickens with their head cut off.
And mind you, I mean, I've never had a baby before, so all of my knowledge is coming from just what I see in movies. And
yeah, it was funny. So we hopped in the car, went to the hospital, and they did confirm that I did not pee myself. So I was very
good.
relieved.
You were like, yes, my instinct was correct.
God, thank God. I would have been so mortified. And but they also confirmed that like I hadn't started any contractions. So they were like, really, at this point, you're very irregular. Things are so far apart. So they gave us the option to walk to the hospital or go home. And so like we talked about it, and we were like asking family who might know how long we would be waiting. And then we opted to go home. We were like, I think we'd feel more comfortable. Like I could eat something. We could be in our own space, like just figure out what
be comfortable.
the day was going to be. Yeah.
And that was another thing that was like surprising, because everybody that I talked to, they were like, they're not supposed to send you home after your water breaks. So I was confused there too. Like, why are they sending us home?
I could be confused by that.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
you came back home.
Idea of like, we came back home. Actually, on the way home, Jared was interested in getting a bite to eat, so we went for a full breakfast.
We went to a local diner.
I love that. You were literally in labor at a diner, technically?
Yes. Yeah. Got a full omelet. I got a full breakfast and then went home.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah. And so we spent the whole morning just like we went for a walk. I bounced on a bouncy ball. I looked up all of the things that you could do to help. I did all the things, and it was super quiet. I took a nap.
Stop.
Like, Jared worked. Yes, I took a nap.
Yeah, I had a one-on-one with my manager, and he's like,
what are you doing?
Why are you on this call? I told him the water broke. He was like, aren't you supposed to be in the hospital right now? I was like, I thought the same thing, but they sent us home. So
like, what time did it start getting serious?
That joint went from 0 to 100 quick.
It did. I would say by like 1, I started noticing things were picking up, but lightly. Like I could very much handle it. It was just slightly uncomfortable. And then by 3, I started noticing that, like, okay, when people said it actually feels like there's a rhythm, I was like, oh, okay, I see that. I think there is a rhythm. And then by 4, I was like, oh my God, this is very intense. Jared was on a work call, and it was not great, not good.
Yeah, this was like a call that I thought was going to be like 10, 15 minutes. And of course, it goes like 30, 45 minutes.
I cannot believe you were working.
Because she was perfect. She was like totally fine the whole day. And then all of a sudden, once they hit, it was like, oh, we need to like start making moves.
It was like 5 a.m. to 1 p.m. There was like no action, and then it wasn't until that afternoon that then all of a sudden things started to pick up.
But also when we were at the hospital in the morning, the nurse said, don't come back until she cannot talk. They said, don't stop timing the time in between the contractions. If she's having pain, it's fine. Once she cannot talk anymore, that's when you should come back.
Huh?
Yeah, and we both looked at each other like, huh? So every time she was going through pain here through like a contraction, I'm like, well, you still can talk, so I don't think we should go there yet.
That was the meter. I'd be like, I can't talk. Bring me in. I'm not speaking another word.
Yeah, we took it a little bit too serious, I think, because we were like, every single contraction, we were like, well, I'm still talking. I guess we wait. Like,
were you like screaming like, I'm still talking?
And we got to think about like her pain tolerance too is probably like higher than your normal person, maybe. So
I know. I feel like you probably do have a high pain tolerance. I don't know why.
I'll let Jared show you the video. I was pacing around the living room, just saying like, okay, it's okay. I was like, oh my God.
I must see this.
Yep.
I must shoot it too.
Things started to pick up. I was talking to my girlfriend Christina on the phone, who helped me time out my contractions, and she was like, this feels close. Like, are you sure these aren't intense enough to go? And I was like, I don't know. I'm talking to you, so I don't know.
You guys took that seriously.
Yeah, we took it literal. Yeah, because she was like, you're going to have pain. It's going to be painful. You're going to be like breathing through it. But she was like, if you're still talking, you don't need to come in. And at this point, her contractions were like 2 minutes apart. And supposedly that's like baby's coming.
Yeah.
So we were like, oh, she's still, and then like she was still talking through, and we were like, at one point we were like, well, let's just go.
I was gonna
say,
be second
sorry, I'm not trying to have a baby
in the bathroom floor.
Yeah, or in the car, or on the highway.
I feel like once we got to like 5 p.m. and that call, his 4 p.m. call that it got really rough at, then I was like, okay, I know I'm talking through these, but like this is like another level now.
Yeah.
And so then I was like beside myself. I was like, okay, should I just call the doctor? Maybe I'll call them and they'll still tell me to come in. I was like, I just don't want them to turn me away.
Yeah.
So finally we called the doctor. They hadn't called us back, and we were like, F it, let's just go. We were like, let's just go. I was like, I literally was like sweating, was like couldn't handle myself.
My God.
And
This was the
was
most
like, I think
stressful
we need to
time.
get in the car.
How did you feel during this time, Jared? Were you literally internally panicked, or were you internally and externally panicking? Like, was everybody panicked?
Well, I wouldn't say I was externally, because she was already going through her thing. So,
But on the
she couldn't
inside,
tell.
you were like, fuck.
Inside, I felt bad, because on the car right there, she started crying and everything. I was like, oh, I feel so bad right now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And then we eventually get to the hospital. We pull up to the valet. Valet's closed. So now I got to go into the into the garage, find a parking spot, and get her in
So
there.
bad.
And she was just like holding on to the railings and taking it just like inch by inch.
Oh my God.
Literally, we walked through the hospital. The whole hospital could hear me. I was just going, oh. Like, I was like,
And I felt so bad.
not doing well.
Wait, they're
It
supposed
was
to
not
bring you
good.
a wheelchair. You should have pulled up to emergency.
We didn't do we didn't go
My
through
wife is
emergency.
having a baby. Bring me the wheelchair.
We could have.
And then so
You could have.
okay, so maybe I dropped the
We
ball
could
on
have
not
done
going
that.
to the
Okay.
emergency room.
Okay.
No, I think both of us did. We were like, as soon as we saw the valet was closed, we both were like, okay, parking garage. I guess we can make it. Like,
Yeah, we're
I don't
already
know.
here. We're basically here. Like, we just have to park and get inside.
Yeah, so then we go to the floor that we're supposed to go to, and we see a receptionist, and she's like, "Oh, hi, how you doing?" And she's sitting there like visibly in pain, crying, making noises, and she's like, "Oh, what you doing? Like, or how are you doing? What can I help you with?" And I'm just staring at her like,
We're
"Lady,"
having a baby.
that made me mad. I was
You were
furious.
pissed?
Yeah, I was furious at that point. 'Cause I'm like, my lady is clearly in pain right here. You saying they're taking her time. And then she's like, oh, I have to find something. I have to find somebody else, blah, 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 blah. So then we go sit down. We're waiting. She's still just in
You're
pain.
in the waiting room just
in the waiting room.
having intense contractions.
Yes, just laboring from the chair.
But then from there, they get us
Yeah.
in, and we see the nurses. And then from there, it was good. Everything was copacetic.
Yeah.
I am shook right now.
The nurses came out and they were like, we hear you, mama. We know things are going on. Come on. Let's get you in.
And you probably
And-
were you so relieved? You just were like crying with relief because you were like, thank
Nah,
God.
she still wasn't. She was still crying from pain.
I was in so much pain, but I was so happy that like
They came.
someone was gonna actually come take a look at me. They were like, "How are you doing?" I'm like wiping my forehead. I'm like, I'm not doing well. Like, this is a lot.
Yeah, I think this was like right in like the start of the heat wave, the last heat wave we've had.
Oh
This
yeah, it
was
was
right at
hot
the beginning
outside.
of that. Yeah.
Oh fuck. Okay, so then you get into your room and you're like, drug me immediately.
Well, no, we're at triage first, so we're still just at a regular just bed. So
Yeah.
they strap her up with some sort of like
IV.
an IV, but then also some sort of type of monitor to monitor the heart rate of the baby, and then also to monitor her. And she has to be on there for 20 minutes. So for that 20 minutes time, they're taking her blood pressure, they're doing all these other type of things. So she still doesn't have her epidural yet.
But so you're for that entire time you're still just having intense contractions.
Oh yeah. I was just grabbing Jared's hand. I was slow dancing with the midwife. I was like holding on to everything. I was just like, yeah, it was very intense.
Was there any relief, or it was like every 2 minutes on the dot, or like was it like that's what I always wonder is like, is it just intense nonstop, or is it like they come and they're intense and then you can breathe for a second?
You can breathe for a second, and that feels really good. Like I remember saying to Jared, like, oh my God, the rest, I need the rest. Like, oh my God, this feels so much better. But then they get so intense, and then quickly the rest gets shorter, and then you're like, oh my God. Yeah, it's like, oh my God, I can feel another one coming on, and then you're like, no,
fuck.
I don't want to make it to the peak. Because then at that point, you feel the peaks, and then the rising, and then the falling. And so I was like, oh no, my God, no.
Oh,
like, it
no.
was not good.
Oh gosh. So you make it to your room.
At triage.
Yeah. Oh.
Yes, we make it to our room. They've confirmed that we're 5 centimeters, that things are going to move quick, and they offer us like, do you want to call the anesthesiologist to get an epidural going?
And you're like,
And
hell yes.
originally I was trying to make it to 7 centimeters, and I was like, yes, please call them. Please
Call them
call
now.
them immediately. Yep. So we get to our room. We're all good to go. And epidural happened quickly. That was probably I was very nervous for the epidural.
Yeah, does it hurt?
I don't even know.
You were just...
I felt like a pinch, and honestly, I didn't even care.
At that point.
I literally said to Jared, because you have to focus on staying still. And so I was like, knowing the contractions were going to be a lot, I was more focused on like, okay, you need to like handle yourself in order to get this epidural.
Yeah.
And so I was focused on that. And then I remember while they were prepping for it, I just remember like looking over at Jared through some of the contractions and being like, oh my God, I hope after this epidural, I just don't give a fuck about anything. Like, I hope this works so well that I just like go into like instant like
zen
ease.
Yeah.
And so, so I feel like that's all I was thinking about was like, this epidural is going to make you like finally at peace for a second.
Yeah. Did it? You were like easy breezy after that?
Yeah. Yeah. Immediately I was like, okay, now I feel better. And I could still feel that there were contractions going, and I could feel the like waves of them, but they were just like pressure. So I could just like, I still felt in touch with my body, but I felt in control of being able to actually like see what was going on and less like manic. I was like very panicked going up to 5 centimeters.
Oh my God, I can't imagine.
Yeah, I feel like once the epidural came, it was just like a easy breeze after that.
Yeah,
it's crazy to say from me saying that,
yeah,
but
you're like, it was so easy.
Yeah, but I mean, the most like for real, like the most like the most hectic time was we were back home probably that 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. to where she actually got the shot. That was the most hectic. Mm-hmm. So it was only like a little 3 hour gap. So I don't understand how people can do that naturally.
Yeah,
because I could not imagine her staying in that pain for hours and hours on end, and also pushing with that pain, with those contractions still happening. Like I just couldn't imagine it.
So much credit to people that make it through the most intense
kudos to y'all.
part.
Wow. Some people don't have a choice.
Oh my God.
Let me tell you, my cousin with her second baby, because you know the second ones come out faster than the first ones. She had to drive herself to the hospital because we had a family wedding and every single person was at the wedding. It was actually her brother's wedding, and she had to drive herself there, and she was contracting the whole drive. And then when she got to the hospital, he was like, by the time she got to her room, she asked for the epidural, and they were like, no, he's coming right now. Like, and he was there in 30 minutes.
Jesus.
I know.
Your women are superheroes, no lie.
Oh my God.
So, okay. Rewind. Jared, at any point were you like just either just so like you didn't know what to do or what to say, or like were you gonna pass out? Like at any point were you like,
so I wasn't saying anything. I'm not gonna like,
yeah, like
I'm just
what were you doing?
I'm just chilling, sitting back.
What was your role?
I'm making sure that she's good. I'm trying to tell her just continue to breathe, deep breaths, maybe rubbing her head, rubbing her neck, getting her some like wet paper towels that are cold, just cooling her off.
Yeah, that was helpful.
I'm staying away, letting the nurses do what they do. I'm letting her go through her pain because I'm not trying to like tell her what to do, because obviously I don't know what to do. Right. I'm not going to try to tell like mansplain giving birth to her while she's in pain. So I'm just staying out the way. So eventually they move us to the actual delivery room. She gets the epidural. Once she gets the epidural, then I'm like, she's fine, she's calm. I'm like, good, bet. So then I start getting the room ready. Cause I thought we were going to be in there for a few hours, or at least like multiple hours. So we brought speakers, had a playlist ready. We had snacks ready.
Snacks, nice.
There was a ball. Well, no, because once she got the epidural, she couldn't even use the ball anymore. So she was just in bed. So I tried to set up the room, just make sure everything was like just cool and calm and collected. Put music on and just talking to her, making sure she's good.
Okay, and then everything's done, blissful, music's going, and eventually at some point that night, Jovi arrives.
Yeah, so the nurse that we have, she just came on. Her shift, I think, started at like 7 p.m., maybe 8 p.m., so she's there until probably
the next day.
Yeah, the next morning, so 6. So she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm hoping I'm able to meet this baby." And at this point, I'm like, it's probably like 8 or 9. I'm probably like, "Oh, we're not gonna hit the 10th. It's gonna be the 11th." And I'm cool with that because it will be August 11th. My birthday's June 11th. So I'm like,
Oh, you're like,
oh, yeah, that's going
we're
to be kind of
connected.
dope. Yeah. So the nurse is in there. She's cool. She's like, I think she's like kind of young. We're just all talking, just having a good time. And then I guess she's like, oh, let me check you. But then I guess she checks her. And she's like, oh, this baby might come before 12. And then I'm like, oh, snap. Like now I'm like cool, calm, and collected. Now I'm like back up like, oh, snap. It's
Sweating.
back in the game mode, back in the game time.
Oh my gosh.
So then, yeah, I'll let her go.
So then at that point, she noticed that she was really low, and she was like, okay, she's engaged. I think we should start like getting ready. And so we prepped everything, and then we had time to do like practice pushes basically. And so she was like, I'm going to explain to you what to expect, and this is how the next phase of this is going to go. And so she was like, you can see on the monitor, and I could feel those contractions, like I said, just pressure. And she's like, I want you to watch this, and I want you to get a feel for it. And basically, like when you're at the peak of one, we're going to push. And so she was like, let's just practice it. And so we practiced it, and then she was like, okay, good. I'm going to get things ready, and then let's get going. And so probably at like...
Were you nervous?
Before, no, I felt pretty good at that point. Like, okay. I think the room was calmer than I would have thought at that point. Like, I felt good, and I felt like I don't know. I wasn't nervous. Jared, were you?
Yeah, I was nervous the whole time. Because I just didn't know. Like, I might get a little bit morbid here, but I just didn't know. I wanted to make sure you were okay, and then I wanted to make sure that she was coming out okay. So all the way until the point where she was actually came out and you actually see her moving or hear her crying. That's when I was like, okay.
You like took a breath.
Good, yeah.
Yeah.
Because even when she was pushing, like I could see the veins like popping out of your head. I'm like, oh, just keep breathing, keep breathing. I'm like, I'm not trying to have like a blood vessel pop or something while you're pushing this baby out. So, because you were pushing hard.
Yeah. So she basically, at the point that she said that things were looking good, she was like, all right, we're going to get ready. And so she came back in and was like, okay, on this next contraction, let's push. And so she was like, when I tell you to push, like, don't let anything go. It's the same thing as like the people saying, like, with the contractions, wait until you can't talk. She was like, don't leave anything on the table. Just like push as hard as you can let's see what progress you make. So I'm like, okay, all right, let's do this. And so, literally after the first like few pushes, she's like, okay, like we're doing really, really well. Look, like she's very, very low. Okay, let's like, that's good. We might be able to start seeing her. And so then really quickly after that, on like our next few pushes, we could just see Jovi's hair because she has a lot of hair.
Literally, she has so much hair. I'm looking at her on this video right now, and you can't even like see any of her scalp. It's like all hair.
Yeah, she came out with a full set of hair. So yeah, this whole time I'm like, like I said, I've never had a baby before. So when I see people having babies, it's in the movies, and there's a whole team there. Literally, it's just me, Emily, and this one nurse. And I'm sitting there looking at her like, where's everybody?
People?
I'm like, where's everybody else at? Like, why are we already pushing and the baby's coming out? And it's only you. Us. I'm like, are you just like, I'm like, are you new here? Or are you trying to get most of the credit for this? Like, and you don't want to call the doctor or something? I was so confused. And then, because she was really good. She was really good. My original plan was not to be looking down there. I heard it scars you for life.
Did it scar you for life?
No.
No, you were
People
fine.
exaggerate. So I was expecting to be by her head and just like holding her hand, but I was with the nurse holding her leg up, and my face is literally in there. I'm like, where's everybody else?
So
at?
You saw Jovi's head too before the doctor even was coming?
Yeah, I saw everything.
Yeah, you could see. I could see she was right there, and so then.
So she's like,
she's like,
all right. We call the doctor when it gets to a certain point.
And then literally the doctor came in and she just shot out.
Yeah, we did like a few more good pushes, and that was it. And
like NASCAR.
Yeah.
Like like the pit crew.
Yes.
It was kind of like that. Like they came in, like when like the car goes to the side, it's like zoom 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 zoom, and then they out. It was it was like that. The doctor and like two other nurses came in. They set something up. They were like boop 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 boop, and then the doctor was out.
Did Jovi? Did she cry as soon as she came out?
Yes, she wailed. As soon as she came out, she got very, very bright red.
Pissed.
Yeah, she was not happy. And
That's good.
so
though.
then they like plopped her right on me.
Aw.
And it was amazing. It was such a surreal moment. Like,
Yeah, is
just
it
the
like
three of
not
us,
real
we just,
life? You feel like you're in an alternate universe, like you're just like
Yeah.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I'm
all
sitting
of a
I'm
sudden
sitting there
it was
watching because I see the head come out. I'm like, how is the rest of her body gonna make it out of this?
tiny
And
hole.
then all of a sudden, once her head comes out, it's like the rest of the body just shoots out, and there's like fluids and juices all over the place.
Were you
And
guys sobbing your eyes out?
No.
Oh.
I dropped a
Yeah.
little tear. She wasn't. I don't think you were crying.
really.
Yeah, I don't
Oh,
remember. You
I don't
definitely
know.
weren't sobbing, but I definitely
Maybe not
dropped a tear.
sobbing.
I have some people are always like some videos the people are just like puddles
Yeah.
like
No, she wasn't. She was like more just like
I don't think I was puddles. I think I was tearing.
yeah, getting her breath back and just like happy.
you're just like wow.
It was just like bliss.
Yeah.
You're just like wow, I
Yeah.
just pushed a baby out of my body.
Yeah, and like this is her.
And
Like,
then
this
I
is-
have to yeah, now it's
this
mine,
is-
baby.
Yeah, and
The
she's
whole
just
experience
on
is
your
crazy.
chest, and
Yeah.
you're just like, oh my god, is this happening?
This is
like
happening.
It was very surreal in an amazing way. So
It's a
my
beautiful,
God.
a beautiful
So then-
sight to see.
yeah, it was beautiful. And then they checked her, cleaned her up, and took care of us, and then we made it to our like postpartum room and started at that point to like
Parenthood
get to
101.
know her.
Yeah. Start to adult.
Yeah,
Then you like a couple days later you went home. I feel like literally the only I knew Jovi was coming because Jared said the only text you sent me was water broke this morning, like probably something happening today. That was like I think during the morning, like when you're saying everything was chill.
Yeah.
You texted me that and I was like, oh cool, she might come today. And then the whole day went by. Obviously Jovi wasn't born until after 10 o'clock. So I literally said to Terrence, I was like, I wonder if Jovi came today. I'm like, she must not have come. I don't think you sent us the text until the next day.
Well, no, I think you texted me again, and I said game time.
Oh yeah, you did say game time.
Well, I think we were on our way to hospital. I texted you game time,
I was like, oh shoot, okay.
and then I didn't text you again until
The next morning.
with a picture.
I feel like I woke up in the morning to the picture and I was like, obviously cried. But so then now you've been home for 2 weeks. Like, what is like? Give us the real deal on
that
adjustment.
first night we got back home, that joint was rough.
Yeah, Jared tweeted. He was like, he tweeted something which was annoying me because I was texting him and he was not responding, but he was tweeting. And
I was texting you back. What are you talking
no,
about?
you weren't. And he tweeted like, I thought people were exaggerating about this no sleep thing with like this meme that was like, I was wrong.
I'm getting cooked.
Literally, the first night sounded rough.
Yeah, the first night the first day we get home. Yeah, she didn't go to sleep until like 6 a.m.
She was just like,
6
what?
a.m.
What do they do on the first night? They're just hungry or they're just unsure of where they are. Like they're just.
I don't even remember. It feels like that was like a year ago, and it's only been 2-3 weeks, which is kind of crazy.
she's just hungry, changing her. A little fussy. We'd put her down. We could hear her in the bassinet. Then she didn't really want to sleep in the bassinet. Then she'd be up, and we had to feed her. Like it's just like the hamster wheel of like all of those
And
things.
then when she did go to sleep, you have to wait like early in her. So they lose weight. So their birth weight, they lose weight right away, and then you have to schedule your pediatric appointment. And by that first appointment, you want them to start gaining weight back to their original birth weight. So until then, you have to wake them up every 2 to 3 hours to feed them. So
Shit.
even if they are sleeping throughout the night, so say if they are sleeping for more than 3 hours, which I doubt like a week-year-old is doing, you have to wake them up to feed them so they can start gaining that weight back. So it was just a lot of feeding
Shit.
Yeah, and
every 2 to
I mean,
3 hours.
good for Jovi. She likes to take her time while she eats. So then, really, like by the time you time out start of one feeding to then the start of the next, it was like we were like in a revolving door of just like, and we're back at it. Okay, let's wake her up. Let's go. Like it was.
Yeah, because you start at
It was a lot.
say if you start at 2, you're supposed to feed her again at 4. She wouldn't be done eating until 3:05, 3:10, and then you try that 30 to 40 minutes.
So
trying
you
to
don't
get her to
count from
sleep.
3, like
No, that's what I thought. I'm like, yo,
she just finished
she
at
just
3.
ate. I'm like, we can't get no rest. She just ate, and then Emily keeps, no, it's from the time she started eating. I'm like, oh my god.
No. I would have had to been looking that up. Like, there's no way.
Yeah. But then we finally recently got the blessing that said because she's been gaining weight that we could just let her sleep and
Feed her when she wakes up on her own.
exactly. But we literally just got that blessing, so we're still working on it.
Wow. So this is like a question I did not prepare you for. So if you have to think about it for a second, but I'm going to ask each one of you, what is like one thing that you're like, or I don't know, what's your favorite part of seeing the other person parent so far? You know, like this is like a new realm for you guys. So I'll guess I'll ask Emily first. Like what's like your favorite part of something Jared does, or like how he's adjusting, or like whatever so far in the journey?
That's a great question.
Thank you.
I think my favorite thing has been seeing Jared just like jump in. So like as someone who didn't or preferred not to hold really little babies or didn't change like a ton of like young infants, it's been really fun to see him like immediately. Yeah, but he just like immediately connects with her and just like is all in. So he is like, okay, she needs to change. Okay, now like I'm into that. Okay, like just seeing that has been really fun. Now that she's a little bit more alert, just like watching her like gaze at him and her and him
Stop,
at her
I'm gonna
has
cry.
been just like literally heart wrenching. It's like it's the cutest thing ever. So I feel like those are the points that I love to see is like when she gets all like cozy with him and then just like is very content with him. I love that.
Oh my God, so cute. Okay, your turn.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, her just like holding and feeding the baby and then just putting her body and her whole like mental on the line, just making sure that she's 100% good.
Yeah.
Because she has to, I mean, as a mom, especially if you're breastfeeding, like everything is going towards her, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like she has to feed, then she has to pump. It's just like nonstop throughout the day. And then I just try to do what I can so when she is able to get some rest, she can.
Dope.
But it's a crazy experience. Tips
for other new parents that you would say at this point in your 19 days of experience?
I don't think I'm ready to give experience yet. Or give advice yet. I mean,
so experienced.
I just don't. It's funny because everybody says when they sleep, you sleep, but I feel like that's like impossible.
I know. I heard that's some bullshit advice.
Yeah, like there's no way. There's no way.
Yeah, I feel like getting used to like, and maybe this is like pregnancy. You're used to not being in control of, like you can't control it. Like you learn so much about your body when you're pregnant, and I feel like that is the same thing with like our birth. Like you can't really have necessarily one plan in mind. Things may change. Like you're kind of going with it and learning. You've never seen your body do this for the first cycle before, and I feel like it's the same thing with motherhood. At least from my perspective, is like she's her own being now, and so getting to know her because I can't control her, so I can just read. I can try to read her. I can try to learn, and then like adjust. And the more that we can communicate and like help each other do that, I think that's like, I don't even know that it's advice because we're still doing it. So it's more, or just like, maybe we'll all get through this because that's how we've seen things go.
And to your previous question, I also love seeing the excitement on Emily's face when like she's dressing her. Or like picking out clothes for the day for her to wear, or even like the jammies, because
the jammies.
I feel like she just gets like when she's in such a cute outfit. So when she's in such like a cute outfit, she just like has this smile on her face. And then even there's one like she's been holding her nonstop, and I'm like, yo, you can't let her sleep on you the whole day because she's not going to want to sleep in her crib or her bassinet or whatever. I'm just like,
don't listen to Jared.
But just seeing her just so happy just to hold her and just snuggle with her.
So cute.
It's a great sight to see.
You guys are literally the cutest family on earth. Honestly, this is insane. Like the fact that she's here is like
I'm surprised we're actually able to do this.
I
right
know,
now.
and we're potting, and she's fine because she's been listening to the pod for 10 months in her mother's womb, so she knows how to
Yep.
act during a pod situation. She's a little pod baby.
Jeez.
Wow, this was amazing. I'm so happy we got to
I
hear.
thought you have more questions.
Let me pull up her
Oh, you
all
gotta
of
do
her
the
birth
birth
chart
chart, yeah.
stuff.
Okay, let's do that.
I took like screenshots of it and
Hold
then
on. What's the? Let me ask Emily. What's the one thing that you hate doing so far?
Oh, that's a good question.
I don't like doing.
Yeah.
I will do anything like focused on her, and I will do like anything like that. I love, and I know pumping is for her too, but it's just like nursing is such like a amazing bonding moment, and I feel like very grateful that we're able to nurse and that we've learned that together. Although not perfect by any means, but I feel like trying to do both nurse and pump, and I would guess if I was exclusively pumping, I would still feel the same way about pumping. Like,
yeah,
you have to, but I hate it. So I'm spending a lot of money on pumps that are convenient, and I'm adjusting
that's
and
real.
forcing it.
That's real. What do you hate, Jared?
I hate burping
Oh yeah, you were.
because I'm scared that I'm gonna hit her too hard, and then I'm scared if she doesn't burp and I put her down, she might like choke on her vomit or choke on something. I don't know.
I know. When I
I
was
go to
here
the worst,
today,
so.
you were when Jared was burping. It was like the softest tap ever, and it's just so funny because you can tell he's trying to be soft, which I get. Like if I was a guy, especially of Jared's size, like you don't
Because she always
tells.
tells before, like just in life, Emily was like, you don't know how strong you are, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
you don't know
yeah.
your own strength.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like now I'm trying to be conscious of that, and I don't want.
I know he's like
prick the baby's
barely
back.
tapping her back, and like I just remember when my mom had my brother, like when my sister had her kids. People like
They were whacking it.
you can whack the baby, like you got to get that burp out, and you rub its back in between the whacks. But like Jared's little tap, I was like just laughing. I was like, first time dad life. Like
Like, that's not
Emily's
even
like, you
anything
got to
for
give her a little more than that.
I just don't want to. I don't want to.
Because
hurt
the
her.
the alternative is that she wails, or you can see her get so frustrated,
Yeah.
and it's like there's such like a body reaction to seeing that. She just like it like instantly stresses me out because I'm like, oh, I can feel she's in pain.
Oh
or
my
she's
God. Yeah. I
or-
hate when I have gas and I'm a full grown human being. Like imagine having gas in your tiny little body and you can't do anything about it.
And speaking of that, like she's been having the hiccups so much, and everybody that we talk to, even the pediatrician, even the doctors at the hospital, they're like, "Oh, the hiccups. That's like, there's no cause. Like, there's nothing to worry about because it's not going to hurt her, or it's not like a cause for something else that can come down the line or anything. But it's just like seeing her small body just like jerk from hiccups, and there's times when she's trying to go to sleep, and then she might just hiccup herself awake.
Oh
and it's
my
like you just feel bad. You're like, just stop. And I hate the hiccups myself, like you said, as a grown adult.
Jovi's podcast debut.
Well, she made a little noise.
Yeah.
She had a big little sigh.
She's executive producer of this pod.
Yeah,
she gets some royalties.
Yeah, she will. Put her on the contract. Okay, let's quickly review Jovi's birth chart for the people today and for her parents who have not seen this yet. I put her information into the CoStar app almost immediately after she was born. And I was reading it. I was texting Jared. I was like, oh my God, this is so funny and adorable. But we were saving it for this day. So obviously her son is in Leo. We love that for her. She's just a Leo. Leo's generally fundamentally bold, loves attention, to be cared for. You pay it back in kind with your charm and ability to make people feel better. So I think we know she's going to have a pretty lit personality just off the fact that she's a Leo, which is so cute.
I love that.
Her ascendant, which is sort of like how you come off to people when they first meet. Also, she's like a baby, so we don't want to box her into this, but
please don't.
She can be whatever she wants to be. However, it would just be interesting to like look out for these things as she starts to develop to see if it like actually is coming through. But this is sort of like how she will come off to people. and her ascendant is actually in Aries, which means she comes across as independent, energetic, direct, like knows kind of what she wants,
Ooh.
moves quickly, like probably a little bit more impulsive than, somebody who would like overthink or something like that. So
Sounds like a boss.
yes,
I love it.
those two things already, I was like, this girl is somebody. Okay. Okay, and then her moon, this is her big theory we're going to do. So the moon, which is like rules your emotions and moods and feelings, this is like the sign that she would most like identify with, that reflects her personality if she so chooses. But her moon is in Virgo, which is so funny because it to me, like with her other two signs being so just like direct and like, kind of like the person in the room who people are drawn to. Her moon is in Virgo, which means like she's analytical, like responsible, can sometimes like be a bundle of nerves or like maybe get nervous about things. It says like struggling with a need to be like pure and can be like nitpicky about themselves because of that and just trying to like put their best foot forward, which is just so interesting. It's going to be interesting to see like with the Aries, which is kind of like the opposite of that to me, like what comes through more, but she has a lot of Virgo in her chart, to be honest. I feel, am I an astrologer? No, but here I am. She actually has a lot of Virgo in her chart. She has Virgo in Venus, which is like the house that like, or sorry, the planet that rules like love. She has it in Mars, which is the planet of aggression. And then she has more Leo also in Mercury, which is like how she communicates. This is actually really cool. It says her Mercury's in Leo, meaning your intellect is persuasive, idealistic, bold, a natural leader, speaks articulately with confidence. You use creativity and warmth to win others' attention. So generally, I just feel like she sounds like she's going to be so cool and just like knows who she is going to be or what she's trying to do or like all those things. So I feel like she's going to give you a run for your money, both of you, which is going to be great for all of us to witness as a community.
Yeah, I hope so. It's going to be a crazy journey, but
crazy journey.
We're here for it, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be documented. So
I'm going to text you all these screenshots too. So
the listeners they'll be aware.
Oh yeah, fully. We're gonna get tons of content out of this. Not that we're using Jovi for content, but she will at some point hopefully make her debut, and like especially as she gets older, like 1 year old, and like really the cool developmental things happen.
It's just she starts getting her personality.
Yeah, you'll feel like, okay, this is hilarious. So
that's funny.
Any last minute thoughts or anything? Like happy to be back. Podding.
Oh yeah, I mean I haven't seen you in a minute.
I know.
So
it's been a while.
happy to see you.
Yeah.
Happy to get back into the podding game. It's been a minute.
We gotta adjust our schedule.
Yeah,
we gotta talk scheduling after this.
we got some things coming up. So
I know it's exciting, and it's good to see you guys. I can attest to all podcast listeners. This is like the cutest little family ever. Jovi is just so sweet, and I snuggled her today, and we're already best friends. So
of course, auntie.
I'm happy.
Auntie vibes.
Yes, I'm. It's very blissful here. It actually, seriously, you guys, the energy in your house feels very good and like calm. Like it doesn't feel. It doesn't feel stressful. It doesn't feel like
laid back,
panicky. So I'm sure she'll just thrive because it's just very. It's a good vibe in here.
So when you walked in, did you smell? Did it smell like dirty diapers?
No. Hardly.
I know some houses eventually they can start smelling like dirty diapers, so I'm just waiting to see
it
when that happens.
It does not smell like dirty diapers. Oh my gosh. So anyways, Emily, thank you for coming on and telling Jovi's birth story and sharing all the gory details. We appreciate it.
Having us.
Of
course.
Appreciate
it. To anyone going through the process, trust, and I hope everything works out. And
yeah, if you're in Massachusetts, check out Newton Wellesley.
Yeah, shout out to Newton Wellesley and the nurses there.
They were a great staff. It was we had actually all women deliver the baby.
Dope.
Yeah, there was a guy who did the epidural. He was the only one.
That's super dope. Awesome. Well, thank you guys. Baby Jovi, we love you. This episode is dedicated to, if we had the thing, the credits would be like dedicated to Jovi B. Gaines. 8/10 2021. Wow, that's so weird.
So you got to tell them that. So her middle name is Brenda.
Yes, this is really weird.
It's Brenda is after my grandmom's name, and then we found out that Asia's grandmom was also named Brenda.
I know. It's so weird because when Jared sent her a picture for the first day when she was born, he just put her middle initial. He didn't say Brenda. So then I didn't find out it was Brenda until your mom posted a picture of Jovi and of her holding Jovi, and she had the full name. And I texted Jared, I'm like, where did Brenda come from? He's like, that's my grandma's name. I was like, that's my grandma's name. And, you know, just to confirm that this is clearly a podcast community baby. Jovi was born on my grandmother Brenda's actual birthday. Yeah, so it's just like, wild. If we weren't best friends before, Jovi confirmed it.
That's crazy.
Which is so wild. But I love that for us. Love her name. I just love it. We love you guys. Good luck. The road ahead is just beginning. You're literally just started, so it'll be great.
We're excited for it.
All right. Well, we have upcoming in the next couple of weeks. I recorded some episodes while Jared was dadding. So there might be a couple episodes that are just solo interviews with me and some people, but they're really good topics. And yeah, we're excited to be back. Actually, when this comes out, it'll be past our 2-year podcast anniversary, which is insane. So we'll acknowledge that at some point somehow.
Time is flying.
We'll acknowledge that at some point somehow. And yeah, that's it. We appreciate you guys, and we will talk. Oh shit, we forgot how to do the outro. If you like this episode and this podcast, don't forget to leave a rating or a review.
Yes, make sure you follow us on Insta, Done With Adulting Pod. Also on Twitter, Done WTH Adulting.
Bet. We really all
Deuces.